to this event. Then I also welcome all the eminent personalities in this session. Once again, welcome you all to this event to make it successful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I call upon Ms. Sharada Jayakrishnan, Chairperson of IEEE Kerala section, to introduce our speaker. Ma'am, please.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Bhagishree.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it's really an honor to be part of this program. This weekly series, which has been going on very well for the past few months, thanks to the efforts of Harindralal sir and also the other societies that are supporting this. So I think introducing Professor Rajasree is she's one of our own IEEEN and most known to all of you who has joined this program. She has actually been gracing many of our programs, inaugurating, in fact, our initiative of strategic initiative on academia engagement and also other programs. She has always been coming ahead to be part of the programs. So thanks from our side. Because I need to let me introduce her specifically. She, as everyone knows, she has had a BTech in computer science from National Institute of Technology, the then REC Calicut, MTech and doctoral from IIT Madras, and then she has been honoring many positions, especially large institutions that has been coming up in and around Kerala. So she had been the former director of the Indian Institute of Information Technology Management, the IIITMK in Kerala. She had been the formal principal of Government Engineering College, Barton Hill, Trivandrum, and of course, currently the Vice-chancellor of APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University of Kerala. She's an experienced managing director with a demonstrated history of heading institutions which focuses on computing and IT-based academics, research and development with a strong industry focus, and also very active in the promotion of entrepreneurship initiatives. As mentioned, she is skilled in computer science and allied subjects with a special interest in large-scale software system design and architecture. A very active academician and researcher focused in computer science and engineering, and currently into building in excellence into the much needed area of engineering education. So, and very, very apt to talk on today's topic of building institutions of excellence, a holistic approach. I'm really glad that you're here, Dr. Rajasree. Welcome again, and over to you. Thank you so much for being part of this program.
Thank you, ma'am. It's time we welcome our chief guest, Dr. S Rajasree, ma'am, to enlighten us through her inspiring words. Ma'am, please.
A very good evening to you all. Thank you, Sharada, for that introduction, and Dr. Harindralal for this excellent opportunity for me to interact with an array of luminaries who are my own teachers. Many of them are my own teachers and my senior colleagues, and I am very much humbled to share my thoughts on this topic with you. And I think I should make some disclosure in the beginning itself. Am I audible? Is it
yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I feel I should disclose in the beginning that it is not going to be a well-defined set of prescriptions to build something excellent, but it is some thoughts, some fundamental thoughts which most of you will be resonating, and let us all see how we can have such an approach in building, making our educational system very strong from all the corners that are part of it. So as I said earlier, it is not a very structured talk because as the topic says, it can only give some pointers as to how we should be taking this forward. So let us be very optimistic, and then we all talk about excellence. We have excellent models of institutions. We have we have a lot of things, and there are mechanisms which are used to gauge educational institutions, to assess the quality of education institutions. And now it has become like a set of prescriptions. You have a well-defined set of parameters, say of A to E, and then within that you have some subdivisions, and then you try to improve all that and get some scores, and you are there in the ranking. And it is followed globally and also nationally. We are coming up with our own systems of ranking, which is accepted, which is yet to get accepted by the international community, like our NIRF ranking. So coming to this, now it is very well defined as it is felt that, oh, I have to do steps 1, 2, 3 for this getting this rank, and this is how it is. But is it correct? Is that notion correct? That is what I am trying to explore through this talk. Now, APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University needs no introduction from my side, and every day you have something or other to look at what KTU is doing, and then where we are and what we aspire to do. And it is a large number of people from the state have our own aspirations and say vision about the university, and there we are in the 5th year of its inception. It doesn't need a formal introduction, and that it is from that perspective that I try to see how institutions of excellence can be built, and what are those ingredients, and what should be there, and what can we prescribe at the end of it, or is it not possible at all? That is how I would like to look at the whole problem. And I believe at the end of this session, you will all be with some more questions and some more thoughts as to what is good and what is not good. So what is excellence in institution building? If we say that ranking, the first rank or the QS ranking or any kind of ranking for that matter is important, then it is easy. You can have all those things, and then you can build institutions of excellence, provided everything is in place, and then you start the institution. But it's not like that. It's not a destination. It is a journey. And we can also say that it is a function of resources, goals, and constraints. When we say resources, it is the academic resources, which includes human, financial, and material. It doesn't mean that given a large number of people with immense capabilities and a lot of money, and then sound infrastructure, you are with institution of excellence at the end of 4 years, 5 years. No, it doesn't happen that way. Then the goals, that how do we see what the institutions expected to do? How do we set a long-term vision for the institution? And how do you set the mission? How do you define the mission? And then what are those immediate actions that you take to reach there, the goals? And then given these two, we also have constraints, which is regulatory. It's not that something you can immediately start and then say, here are excellent people coming out of this institution, and they have all the qualities that you are looking for. But we do have more than what is required, if we put it correctly, regulatory frameworks at the state level, at the national level, which will be setting standards, which will be evaluating the quality, which will be grading. So everything is out there, and we do have fiduciary things which comes into picture, and also some human aspects which form the constraints, and we have to work with all these to see that the institution is there. So when we look at the journey towards excellence, so the spirit that we conceive is very important. The spirit of excellence, that is very important. And this requires continuous improvement in the system with feedback on all the components. And that is very much possible. And we can look at educational institutions with from these three corners, the society, the state or the government, and the academia. So for the society, educational institution becomes important because it puts a lot of expectations on the institution. So you have an IIT in Kerala, IIT in Palakkad. So people associate a lot of aspiration with this institution. Okay, when this institution comes, this is what we are going to gain, and this is how we will be prospering in education. And if it is an engineering college, a top engineering college in a place, say College of Engineering Trivandrum, so we have our own expectations from these institutions, and so also the state, which is using the taxpayers' money when building such institutions, they will also be having their own concerns with respect to equity, inclusiveness, then the finance, all these concerns are there for the government, and also essentially academia. So these three form the essential components which will form integral part of the institutions. And then the state also puts its own regulatory systems, and the core component is the academia, which is central to the institution. Now, coming to this, if you take any institution, the academic model of the institution is very important in determining its excellence. So what do we mean by academic model? So it comprises of all the components of the institution, which will define or which will deliver the services of the institution, and also which will deliver the outcomes expected of the institution. All these form part of the academic model, and a good governance system is also a core component in the academic model. It also involves the capabilities, capabilities or the competencies of the faculty and the students, the way the quality of the students that are coming into the system, and then all the other services that form part of the institution, which will support its core functions. So all these comprises of the academic model, and also the interactions of the academia with the outside world, how they involve themselves in other activities, in contributing to the society, in contributing to the government, in contributing to the industry around, how such contributions or how such functions supported through the governance mechanism, how research and innovations are promoted in the system. All these forms part of the academic model, and that is the core component. So if you look at the evolution of technical education, we can see that immediately after independence, we used to see practice-based engineering education, which turned to be science-based, maybe in 1980s, when space science and all became very popular, and now it is information driven. It is mostly information driven. We see that information is the primary resource that drives the machines, and it is based on this that most complicated engineering decisions are made. That is how the evolution of engineering education happens. And now we are in a scenario where we need to look at creativity based technical education, where we have to also see the role of humanities and social sciences in engineering education. And we also should acknowledge that the National Education Policy 2020 has enough room for all these things when it puts those interesting recommendations in front of us. So when we try to build excellence and try to see approaches for building excellence, we have very old universities as models, which all of us will look at, like Harvard University, which is 384 years old, Cambridge, which is 800 years old, and the old universities of India, like the University of Calcutta and Bombay, which are 163 years or so. So there are also some very interesting models of young universities which are worth noting, like Collin College of Engineering, USA, Singapore University of Technology and Design, then EPFL, Switzerland, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, then NTU, Singapore. So these are all some models. These are all universities which have become popular in very few years of their existence compared to the other universities which follow very broad-based educational systems like medicine, law, everything, and then they have already excelled with their demonstrated contributions and capabilities. But we also have, so it is not the number of years of existence or so, but it is the innovations in the academic models that are also instrumental in bringing excellence and making these institutions popular. That is where these young universities figure out. So when we look at the academic models, so these models are worth looking at, because how we are able to empower the model, or how we are able to find out how each one of these contribute to the overall development of the universities, which bring recognitions to them. So those are all the examples that we get from these differing systems. Now, see, when we look at the policy interventions, we also have to explore the policies which are in place for such successful institutions. The student-centric policies, which are where students are regarded as a primary stakeholder for any policy formulations. This is a very critical factor. Unless we are able to attract students and make the policies which are suited for them, it will be very difficult to attract good students to the institution. So the changes happening all over the world require immediate adaptation of the institutional policies with respect to the aspirations of the youth who are looking for degrees or looking for knowledge which is to be generated from the universities so that they get empowered. So the policies for holistic growth of students is socially relevant, and skill graduates in demand is essential. And it is also important that we have learned that we are all aware of the advances that are happening and the possibilities that digital wave is bringing into academics in all fields of engineering. And those immersive learning experience in relation to industry is very critical for the success of institutions, because the primary focus or the primary goal that youngsters look for is their placement, their professional empowerment, which will help them develop their career and which will develop them, increase their knowledge, be it in any field, research or in innovative, any sector. This becomes very critical. How they can be working in working with meaningful technologies or meaningful knowledge areas, which will be equipping them with good placement and good opportunities of higher studies. That is very critical for institutions, and it is very important to get visionary faculty members from across the globe, because as everything else, talent is also benchmarked globally. So in order to have global citizens, global students who are able to look at globally what is good and contribute, this is very critical. And then reassuring and listening to parents and what I'm trying to convey is that all the stakeholders of the system are very important when we think of the policies and the systems which are to be brought in place. Then access to cheap and easy credits for students to pursue their education, then policy level interventions from government to make student loans. Finance is a critical concern for students, even if they aspire for studies in good institutions. and tax concessions to industries operating from educational campuses. So these are all some important mechanisms which incentivize good students to engage in such activities, and the entire system will benefit out of it. And now we practice a lot of events like which will enable blended learning approaches with hackathon based evaluations, then community and sponsored projects, then endowment funds and tax concessions, then policy for companies to sponsor departments, lab and facility, disabled friendly campus. These are all some of the things which we need to consider when we develop policies for the institutions to come up with good academic models. Now we have different kinds of stakeholders in the system, and then one important thing that we need to look at is we need to attract good faculty members. So it is not only that we bring good faculty members at the entry point, but when we build something new, we need to have a vision for it, and we need to attract visionaries from industry and academia as mentors to mentor these faculty members and clearly give the outcomes that are expected of faculty members. It is not merely teaching, it is not merely in their contributions to the teaching learning process, but something more than that, which will develop them and also the institution along with the students in a holistic manner. So that is very important. Continuous mentoring and grooming system for young faculty members will have a lot of impact in building institutions which are in the beginning stages. Then startup and industry experience for faculty members should be treated as a prerequisite, because our system is used to a practice where the graduates directly from the campuses, they join teaching with absolutely no exposure to industry practices, and then there are difficulties, and it adds a lot of value if some practice is also there for at least a group of faculty members. When they are part of the system, the whole culture of the institution can change. From more emphasis can be given to practice oriented learning. So it should be more of doing than learning, and the faculty members should be capable to bring IP to markets, patents. When we say IP, it is not only that we are talking about patents filed by faculty members, but any artifact that is a reflection of the knowledge that is produced. Say if some faculty members involved in large number of projects from our campus, so they contribute good designs to the society. They contribute a lot of say buildings or institutions. They build infrastructure in which they use their knowledge. So that also becomes becomes an IP. It is not a question of whether you are getting compensated for it or not, but it is the knowledge that is converted into an artifact that becomes a part of the society. A large number of faculty members are there which do that. So all these have to become mandatory, and the faculty members should be given opportunity to work with industry on sabbatical, and there should be policies introduced for this. And then the formulation of faculty selection process itself has to look at the kind of expectations. What is it that is expected of a faculty? Is it 16 hours of teaching? You hire faculty for teaching, and after 3 or 4 or 5 years you tell them that you get money from industry projects. So it doesn't happen all of a sudden. You have to set the expectations and gauge the capabilities depending on the requirements that are expected of the system. So that is where the policy formulation for that in the beginning itself becomes critical. And then enough time for consultancy projects and community projects, good institutional framework that will empower the institution as well as incentivize the faculty members who will be contributing adequate time for working on these projects, and then without compromising their academic activities. If we have clear-cut policies, which is very well there in institutions of eminence, they very clearly defined frameworks are available, and those kind of things should be encouraged. And then the funding is an important aspect when it comes to research and international activities related to research, which is very critical and which is abysmally low, especially in state government owned institutions. Then we say that faculty members have to generate money and then make their own funds to meet such expenses. But where is the starting point? Somewhere it has to start. If a faculty member has to establish a world-class lab and do research, the resources are mandatory. It's not as easy as it is said. But those kinds of things are very critical when we plan our vision and then the related goals that are expected of an institution. Then the social infrastructure is also very critical. It is not that you build an institution then dream that you will be able to bring good faculty members from all over the world. It's not so. They look for everything else. What is there for educating the children? What is there as recreational facilities? How good is the campus? So it is the choice of an institution to work is a combination of all these things. It's not that there is an institution and you hire faculty and it is easy for you to get faculty that way. It doesn't happen. So these are all some of the things that we need to consider. And then from industry relevant, being industry relevant is very important, which doesn't mean that the whole curriculum should move with what industry is looking for and the whole curriculum is to be restructured to put the skills in. It's not that way, but it is. The rigor should always be on the core engineering subjects, and then the components which are to be how the skilling can be done. It is something which needs to be very carefully planned. It should not be like see, now we know that because of the digital innovations and digital technologies, there is a myth that if you learn something new which is like a buzzword, AI or ML or blockchain, then the job is there for you. But it is wrong. It is how you are looking at the core, the fundamental subjects, and how good you are. What is the extent of interest and extent of depth you give to your fundamental subjects? That is very critical, and then the rest of the things only come on top of that. So the capability to adapt the changing waves of technological revolutions and seamlessly integrate with your subject or domain knowledge. That is very important, and that is how we should be planned when we talk about industry relevance. It's not that the technology comes, which is there for 2 years or 3 years, and it vanishes just like that. And whatever you say today as very big technologies will all be tools tomorrow. The skills will be tools tomorrow, which you will be able to use those tools by clicking a button to have your it will be as easily available as services. You have an MI service plugged in and you can have what you want to do. It is not that you have an MI engineer or an ML. It's not that way, but it is your capability to blend the core engineering rigor with these kind of skills, deep technology skills. That is what matters when it comes to industry relevance. And our structuring of the curriculum, everything should be with this principle. And there should be thrust on the option there is to have very small programs like minor, which KTU is also trying now, along with the core engineering skill, you give a minor in another, like if you want to do something in, say, data science or computer science, you can have a mechanical degree in mechanical engineer with a minor in computer science with a specific specialization. So that is very much possible, and it should be at that level, not by compromising the fundamental learning or the fundamental subjects that are important for core subjects that are important for a stream. So the internships also, those are very meaningful components, but we understand and we also realize that for a large number of students, it is not possible to provide the right kind of internship, but it has to happen. It has to happen in several ways. It's not like physically going to an industry, but faculty members also should have connections or network with industry, where the problems or the logical presence of such industry can be brought in the campuses itself, and then such problems can be given. Many successful institutions have used this kind of approach, where we have very good examples in front of us in our national institutes, where the labs which are working on very intensive areas, in subject areas, have very good industry projects, and that gives internships which may convert to placement, and that becomes very, very critical. Then attracting good placements, and then hiring opportunities for researchers in industry, then industry sponsored students. So this becomes very, very, very focused as far as the industry is concerned, and then specific areas are concerned. So we should also have center of excellence laboratories with industry linkages, which should not be viewed in a very, very big way, but it can be with SMEs and MSMEs. Those are also very, very, very important, connecting to campuses and working on such aspects. Then we set industry, we set to be industry relevant, and also it is very important to be socially sensitive. So one has to be adhering to the ethical practices. So we teach everything else, but not the fundamental ethics or such things. It is some, even though it is said that it becomes part of the curriculum, but it is not followed with that rigor, and that is very important. In the campuses also, we have limited opportunities through NSS, NCC, etc. But it will be interesting to think about alternate options for this, which will give 360-degree education to students with all arts, culture, sports, etc. And it is also, see, we have not experimented with this, but somehow I feel that it is also important for us to have trainings or exposure in administrative practices also. If students engage in some projects for a government department, say health department or health department, then the students will also become aware of the administrative processes that are happening in such departments. It is not that see, we can think of some such services in their from within their student life itself, where they go and spend some time, and if it can be structured, if it can be put in a structured way, this will definitely improve the education of the students. Now itself, we have seen that in COVID-19 and all, we in lot of projects and in lot of services from the departments, health departments, the government have been making immense use of volunteers, student volunteers from our campuses through NSS, and also technically intensive activities for developing software and in managing people and all sorts of things. So this is very important, and if you see the campuses, only a small fraction of students will be engaging themselves in these activities, but these should become mandatory. of, say, para security services or para legal services. So it is something which is open for thought, and para health services. So that will be something that will be something which is interesting to look at, and all these should be given some sort of incentives in the academic system. So we do have a lot of requirement in infrastructure services. So why can't the students go and spend some time, 2, 3 months, 4 months, as part of their internships in a big project, and then they contribute to that. These are some vehicles through which we can realize these goals. That will make them more socially sensitive. It is not, the internships are need not be very technical, but it can be this way also. Then, as I said earlier, finance becomes it is a very useful component. The roles of banks in education it's very critical. Now, role of government agencies also. We have to think of some mechanisms by the government. Part-time employment for students to work while they are studying. It is a lot of opportunities are there, but we have not explored it to that extent. So recently, Government of Kerala released an order in this with the LSD department. There are a large number of projects where the students can be engaged, but it is yet to get formalized in a way that can be executed. But that gives opportunities for us. There are such activities in which students can be employed, and government has also come up with a scheme called earn while you learn. So it is possible for us to think along those lines when we think of see the contributions of students to the government in actual projects where they will be able to spend some time. There are projects in all streams of engineering where students can also become part of, and that if those can be explored by institutions, it will be very interesting. Then tax subsidy schemes for all companies operating from academic institutions, performance-based incentive based on the number of employment generated locally for graduates, then mandatory allocation of CSR funds for promoting higher education and research. So such policies, if put in place, will be of great help to building good institutions. And the mandate in providing consulting projects in all government institutions, and the availability of internships based on merit and free of cost in government organizations, autonomy for linkages in terms of student faculty exchange and research in international problems, flexible credit transfer scheme which is to be integrated globally. This is again something which will be interesting to look at, provided the university brings in a conducive framework for that. Recently, IIT Madras has come up with such a scheme where they will recognize a list of institutions from where credits can be acquired by students, and those credits will be automatically transferred to their credits. Some 70 credits or so students can choose from other departments of the institute or from other universities or other institutions which are recognized by the institution. So these are all very interesting opportunities for students to learn. So we have very interesting case studies. If we look at institutions, I'm just bringing you to an excellent business school of the country, the Indian School of Business, which is very popular. And we should see such models, how such institutions have been brought. And also we have IIT Madras. I'm not listing all the institutions based on the rank or anything, but if an institution is in rank 1 in NIRF for 1 or 2 years, so what is it that the model that the institution is using, and what are all the components? What are the strengths though of those institutions which make them best in the grading? So these are all some interesting pointers for us to look at, and that is where we all need to start when we think of building institutions of excellence. So it is the final learnings I would like to put this way. It is the strategy, the competencies, and the academic model along with the digital infrastructure. That is also very important when it comes to institutions. And then how do we say what is excellence? There is nothing like a definition for excellence, and excellence, it depends on from which angle you would like to look at what excellence is, and how successful in the journey you are. You can't building something that is excellent. You can't build something that is excellent, but you can build something and then have a successful journey towards excellence by looking at the components that form the fundamental units of that institution, and then have continuous assessment and feedback and see how it becomes excellent. So that is a very comprehensive exercise in which all the stakeholders are part of, and for towards the journey of excellence, we would look for proactive transformation and optimizations. See, what I mean to say is that with the demands of with the demands or requirements from the context in which we are in, the institutions need to transform with respect to the academic model, with respect to the courses that are offered to students, with respect to the flexibility, with respect to the learning environments. All these are important, and the institutions should have mechanisms to make this transformations and associated optimizations by controlling the internal processes and systems that does this. That is very critical. Supposing that tomorrow there's something like you can have this nothing like a structured, no, I'm just giving a hypothetical example. There's nothing like a structured degree, but you have to have a combination of micro credits which can be combined to specialize in some majors and minors. Then how well your organization is able to adapt to such a requirement. I have such and such courses, and I can have these credits, and then put these credits together, you have this competency. Put another set of credits together and you have this competency. And then definitely students will look for such kind of agile institutions which are able to offer them that kind of that kind of educational service. That is what I mean by transformation and optimization. What is optimization? It's not that you're bringing in new courses or programs to achieve this, but you have flexibility in your own courses to make this this kind of competency building. That is where the optimization comes in. So there should be absolute control over the financial resources, because the revisions, the compensations, all these keep happening, and the institution has to have move with all these changes that are happening, which will be making use of the resources, and it should be able to accommodate all those. And the services offered, it should be responsible services. Responsible in the sense, it should, what are the, if it is some set of courses, what are students looking for? What are then what are the aspirations of the students, and how well you are able to be responsible to that, how well you are able to satisfy them in between through the course of stay in the campuses, or while they choose, then how quickly you can respond to the needs. So that is very critical for institutions to become excellent, and then awareness of the learning experience. If a set of students are in the campuses, then what they feel out of their learning, and then how well you are able to get their feedback. That means if the data about their learning experiences is available in the form of feedback, how quickly you can get and you can respond to that in the institution. So those institutions become very successful, and then that is what one should think of. And essentially, to achieve all this, we have to have digital infrastructure which is to be which should handle all these kind of disruptive factors. If you have say agile way of courses, and then you are awarding credits to the system, then how you are accumulating that and giving degrees to the student. You have to have sound systems in place which will be able to respond to those administrative matters, and then at the same time go ahead with the academics and processes. And that is where the capability of the workforce to adapt to the digital transformations. It is not that you bring in some systems and then your supporting system in the institution or organization or the university is not able to move with this change. If that fails, how much ever you bring in, it will not add value to the services that you offer. So all these become very critical, and that is how we try to have a very holistic way of looking at what excellence is, and how we can look for it, and then how we build it, and how we look at the systems that are excellent systems and what we learn from that. All these are very important, and thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was truly a wonderful session. We got to understand a lot, and as well as learn from you a lot through your presentation. Ma'am, we do have some questions in the chat section from the various participants. Can we move on to the Q&A session?
Yeah, please.
Okay, ma'am. The first question in the chat box is from Professor Mohan Das. He says that he admits that the two major factors in building an excellent institution is the quality of teachers and the students admitted. But with such a large number of self-financing institutions, how can APJ Abdul Kalam KTU ensure quality in these two? Ma'am, should I repeat the question for you?
No, it's clear. See,
Okay.
We have, like Professor put it, we have a large number of institutions, government institutions, government-controlled institutions, aided institutions, and self-financing institutions. And the quality is always something that concerns us. And it is not, due to several factors, it is not easy for us to suddenly close some colleges because they don't have quality at all. But what the university is looking for is to promote those institutions to come up with or meet the quality parameters that are expected of them. That means if they want new courses, they have to have accreditation by NBA, which means they have to meet some fundamental norms in relation to quality. And also we do conduct academic audits to see that the teaching learning process happens in a systematic way. But it is not as easy as it is said, because we have extreme difficulty in getting good faculty members in these colleges, and it is a circular problem because the colleges are not able to get a sufficient number of students to generate finances to compensate good faculty members, and in the whole process we are in a vicious circle. That is the whole difficulty with the university also.
In fact, my second question is based on that, on the academic audit side. And I come in.
Yeah, please.
My second question, which I already sent, is based on the academic audit. Because, basically the academic audit has been done by KTU. It has been done, but I don't know how far it has been used. Because the audit report from all these institutions, probably that will be lying there somewhere there. Whether based on the review of this academic audit or something, whether something could be done, because otherwise there's no point in having this academic audit.
Yes, we have been able to consolidate. We have been able to consolidate, and we have been able to identify the weak points in organizations, and we haven't we have used that as an input for sanctioning new courses, but we have not been able to do substantially on this, but we have plans to do that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. The next question is from Francis Joseph. So says that the patent is an important measure of innovation for a university, but what are the targets and policies for KTU, maybe for the next 5 years?
KTU has not started its own schools or departments so far. So it is now we are only administering the affiliated system, which is pretty huge. So it is for us to see that we start our own schools and then promote postgraduate and research education in these schools by hiring top class faculty members, and then that is what we aim to do in the coming 4 or 5 years. The campus is to be built, faculty members has to be hired, and university has to look for its own schools with academic programs, which will be concentrating on all these innovations and high-end PG programs to start with. So that is the plan. Those are the plans that we have in that end.
Okay, ma'am, that's very good to hear. Now, the next question is again from Mohandas KP. Academic audit and self and peer appraisal of teachers is essential for ensuring quality. I think he has already mentioned in this last question during the interference, but I will repeat for you. The process of academic audit introduced by KTU has not been very effective due to proper review of the audit reports. Appraisals are not there at all. Your comments on these?
I think I've already responded to that. So we have identified we have classified colleges into 3-4 classes, and in fact we planned meetings with all these colleges on all these colleges on to see how their systems can be improved and sensitizing them on the aspects in which they lack. But it has not happened. We had those discussions immediately before COVID, and then we were with all the other work, and it is pending with us. So this time we are, even though it's not possible to visit physically the institutions, we are conducting audits through electronic means, and we will definitely look at it. It is something which is very critical for us.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from N. Ravindranath sir, who is the technical consultant and corporate mentor from Trivandrum. So his question is, during early 2020, APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University had planned to set up an industry attachment cell with a coordinator. And he had a chance to meet the VC for this connection. And the program in setting up such a cell has not heard any progress so far. So your comments on this, ma'am?
We have set up a cell. We have set up a cell, industry attachment cell, and we have a person working there as the coordinator. He's getting connected with industry, and we are trying to bring in something. One area we have mainly worked on is to have a minor program from industry. We have already contacted about 10 to 12 agencies, and we have designed some programs, and we are working on it. This is the minor programs that I have mentioned earlier. It is from the those are designed along with the curriculum. It is from the colleges itself, and this program is exclusively from the industry, which is a set of them are designed, and it is not finalized. It has to be discussed in the corresponding boards of studies, and then we have to get those statutory body approvals to move forward. That is one thing. And we have also been able to conduct 1 or 2 combined campus drives through the cell, and we are conducting in the the student the faculty members and students of the university. A lot of activities are going on, and we will definitely share the contact details of the industry attachment coordinator if since large number of people from professional societies are being part of this, we can make this engagements much more deeper by your involvement as well. We are very much open to this. This is something we are very this is something which we give a lot of emphasis to.
Thank you, ma'am. Anand Panikya sir has said that it was an excellent presentation, and he also has requested you to comment on the inherent contradictions of excellence and holistic approach with the centralized affiliation management of as many as 147 colleges under KTU.
See, if we see the centralized management or the centralized administration is no way a hindrance to none of these things that I have mentioned. See, all these, most of the things, I won't say all these, there are the constraints. The third point that I have put, the constraint in the one of the parameters in the function I put as constraints. There are all the constraints may not be able to be met, but most of the things are possible in the existing system. What prevents a faculty member from getting consultancy projects in which his or her students become part of and empowering them through that in harnessing technical as well as administrative responsibilities, empowering them in several ways? Nothing. So there is I would not say that the affiliation system is never it is not at all a hindrance to at least or most of the parameters which I have mentioned, which one needs to take care of. I would not say that, because all the institutions, if the government colleges, they have excellent opportunities for them. They have established frameworks for their consultancy, or everything is there. And other colleges also, the management of the colleges rests purely with their managements. And the university is no way interfering in that. So excellence, university never, or the affiliated system never comes in between the institution and its journey towards excellence. So I would not accept that. If I have understood the question clearly.
Okay, ma'am. Thousands of projects are done by our future engineers every year. Would like to know about the steps taken by APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University to convert these to patents and products. And the question is from Hariharan sir.
In this case, the university has not done anything with respect to this, because we do not at present. I would admit that the university does not have the wherewithal to do all these kinds of things. See, when I say university, the projects are never coming to the university. It is only with the colleges. Only if we are able to directly give some projects which are promising enough to be patented, we haven't reached that step so far. But we will definitely, because if we are able to bring in, we are trying to bring some industry close to us, and if they give us problems, and then if those are given to students, and we will definitely work on that. But we haven't come to that stage, because we are mainly dealing with the administrative processes and procedures connected with colleges. We haven't been able to contribute to these innovative segments so far. So that is very clear, but it is not that we will not be doing that. Maybe once the university's own schools come and we have some the faculty members leading the university in its schools, they will be able to definitely contribute to be part of these initiatives. That is my strong belief.
Thank you, ma'am. Now the next question is from Narayanan sir. Now Industry 4.0 is running. What steps are taken by KTU to modify courses to meet the needs of new generation IT needs, so that the students coming out from our engineering colleges to get placements in India and abroad? N. Ravindranath sir.
Yeah, this is one. During the course of the presentation, I have mentioned about the minor programs. So those will be one. Those minor programs will be one immediate opportunity to for students to get interdisciplinary competency. That means if a mechanical engineer wants to learn something in computer science, that is possible, or digital signal processing, or any minor, that is, we are providing these minors as a stack of 5 courses, which we call as the basket of courses. So a mechanical engineering student will be able to take a minor from electrical and electronics engineering department, and those will be 20 credits, which is in addition to the 162 credits that are required of the normal BTech program. So this is an excellent opportunity for building industry 4.0 skills for the students. There is no doubt about it, provided it is taken in the right spirit and it is executed in the way it is envisaged by the university. This is going to be a game changer because we have formalized it. At implementation level, it is like mechanical engineering students will have to go to computer science department to take a computer science minor, and like any cross-disciplinary thing is possible. So that is an excellent opportunity, and if it is leveraged properly, and we are open again, we are open to more such minor designs coming in from faculty members, minor courses designed and coming from faculty members, which will be of value add to the students.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Dr. K.C. Ravindranathan. How can one face the intervention from government and political entities in a positive way? Any comments on this?
Can you make the question a little more clear, sir?
How can one face the intervention from government and political entities into a positive manner? And he has also,
it is like see, being a state university, the government has broad policy interventions in all universities, but a university works with its own act, rules and regulations. The university has its own acts, rules and regulations, and in that sense university has absolute autonomy, but the government will have their own policies which will have to be given trust to, in which essentially a state university will have to respond. And then that is an opportunity also for us to support the policies of the government towards development in terms of designing new courses, in terms of taking education forward. So it is, if the goals of the university, if we can align it properly with the government's vision for, say, in the next 5-year plan or so, it becomes very interesting and synergistic to work with. That is how I would like to face this question.
Okay, ma'am. He has also asked another question. What are the measures taken by KTU to promote excellence through research and IPR building?
So right now we have just established the research system and the research centers across various colleges. There is nothing as such to promote IPR, because the research happens in a very generic way. Generic way in the sense, a faculty member will have a specific field of interest, and then students will be joining to work on that specific field of interest, and then there will be a preset requirements for award of PhD, and it just happens that way. So if we need to have very focused targeted research, we need to have university. If from the university side, if I should be able to say that I should have the resources to support a research scholar research scholar with very attractive scholarships. You work and do something on this and generate IP on this. As such, I don't have any mechanism for that. if I have a funding of say funding to the tune of 4 to 5 crores or so, I can give very attractive scholarships and get students. And then good faculty members are there to guide them, and then it naturally happens. So it's not something which happens just like that, but it has, like I put earlier in my presentation, it has a lot of factors which needs to be aligned properly to achieve this. If it
Okay,
is,
ma'am.
also it happens only in focused or outcome-oriented research. If an industry is there to sponsor a huge amount of money, and there are very bright faculty members, young faculty members whose research areas align with the industry's problem, and then we can support say 10, 12 research scholars in that happens. Only then it can happen. So from university, without such faculty members on the role of the universities, it is difficult for me to come up with mechanisms for that at present.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Dr. P.S. Chandramohan. The scenario in many of the academic institutions of excellence, like IITs, they're almost immune for political interferences. How far can we ensure such a situation in Kerala? I think this is an add-up question to the one that was previously asked by one of the participants.
Yeah, I think I have already answered this question.
Okay, ma'am. So, okay, next question is from Sudha. Dear Professor, why is it that we cannot make our PG programs attractive to students despite having clusters?
See, cluster is an excellent opportunity for or it is a cluster is an administrative mechanism which ensures absolute autonomy for programs. So it is the responsibility of the clusters to come up with good academic programs which can attract students. See, what happens to our PG programs at KTU? Our PG programs are not very much preferred by students because they go to the first year IITs, then the second year IITs, NITs, and then second new generation NITs, everything. And the students who are coming to us are those who want to spend 2 years with us for an MTech. Those are not those. I would not say that we don't even get students with Gates scholarship, plenty of them. So there should be good programs to attract such students. If we are able to design such a program and one cluster is able to do that, then there is no doubt that such programs will be taken by students, which is not available elsewhere. A program which is designed by a cluster and which says that all these PG holders will be getting opportunity to do research in an industry, or will be getting opportunity for sponsored research to work for an industry, or see if we have such a research program and all the PG all the students who do this PG program, this is designed in association with a research and development organization, so your job is guaranteed if you work on this PG program. So where are such programs? If such programs are coming from the clusters, there will be people to take it. So that is where we are. The cluster comes in with a lot of flexibility and autonomy. How are we using the autonomy? How are we using the autonomy to empower the programs, not to reduce the quality of the programs by EC mark or 95% pass percentage, but by strengthening the building of knowledge and by strengthening or enhancing the quality of postgraduates. We haven't worked along those lines. We will have to do. I'm not finding fault with anyone. It is the responsibility of the university is to see that it happens, and we will be doing that.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Beena, ma'am. Is it possible to make industrial training compulsory for all engineering students?
Yeah, it is. AICTE has already made it compulsory, but KTU hasn't adopted adopted it because in all the forums, forums where it is where it was discussed, it was not accepted with the view that we don't have enough enough mechanisms or enough opportunities. We don't have enough opportunities to give good training for them. 1 second, excuse me, I'll have to plug in my.
It's okay, ma'am.
Okay, so so that is why we have not been able to do that. If students, all these students are sent and they'll go somewhere and come with a certificate, and we will not be able to count how like what is the quality of the internship, as long as we're not able to give opportunity for all. That is why it's not made mandatory, but it has to be made mandatory. In this next revision, we will definitely look at it.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is from Akhila from PMI. For the minor programs, are the students required to pay additionally to sign up for the respective course and get extra credits? Are these provided with industry-based project for certification? Your thoughts on this?
No, actually, can you repeat the question for minor?
For minor programs, are the students required to pay additionally to sign up for the respective courses and get extra credits? Or are these provided with industry-based project for certification?
No. Though these are actually this industry minor. We have only designed those courses. It's not formally launched. Definitely, students will have to, depending on how it is, how the courses are offered. It is not industry minor is not completely implemented. It is only in the design stage.
I hope the doubt is cleared. Now let's move on to the next question from Bashir. Will you consider collaboration with foreign universities to benchmark and improve standards?
Collaboration,
Collaboration with foreign universities.
We will definitely consider that. We are waiting for the schools to start to have such programs. The university's own schools to start. Now, the colleges have the freedom to choose collaborative and twinning programs, so that is facilitated. We have norms for that, but the initiatives have to come from the colleges.
Okay, ma'am, that was the last question. As you can, the chat box, many of us, many of the participants have congratulated and thanked you for such a wonderful presentation. Your words of wisdom have truly enlightened many of us a lot in various aspects to the current curriculum. As we are coming to the end of today's session, let me now welcome Professor V.K. Damodharan sir of IEEE to propose a vote of thanks. V.K. Damodharan sir, are you here?
Yes, very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rajasree, and thank you, Harindralal, and many other veterans who have been running this program. And today it has been 50-50. That is, the talk and the question interactions were almost of equal time. It's I think it's very rarely we used to have that kind of a relation. And I should say that that was a wonderful batting. But I should also, before just proposing a vote of thanks, which could always be done in one sentence, I thought I should also mention one or two highlights of your presentations, which I thought should be kind of mind searching for the group of professional societies that is organizing this, and the kind of participants who have actually attended this as well as similar sessions related to research, education, industry, interaction, etc. One thing I found was that your use of word, the 360-degree education, also the courses and the programs to be industry relevant and socially sensitive. I think putting this specifically, which generally we have actually sometimes academic Brahmins and industry commons, and these two always remain in two separate chambers and start arguing, making suggestions, and ultimately meeting even at midpoint. So I think this as a focus should definitely try to continuously monitor and kind of reorient the programs, policies, and the content of what we call academic practice or academic job that is being administered to the students. Of course, the internship and consultancy is a very tricky thing. My feeling has been that unless and otherwise the institutions show and earn credibility with the community and the industry, or especially the smaller enterprises which look for this kind of consultancy inputs, this will not actually materialize in any substantial manner. And it is only when that substantially develops that a university is noted for its industrial mooring. If MIT, Stanford, Harvard, and so many other universities are actually known for that kind of a standing, it is actually years of efforts and continuous evolution. So I am still patient, and I hope with the kind of basis that you have already mentioned here, if you are able to tread the path steadily with the support of all professionals within and without the university, I think we should be able to go far. And one more thing that you have actually put focus actually gives me a lot of pleasure and a lot of material for further thinking. That is the attracting faculty is not decided by their academic abilities or what the campus can give in terms of compensation and other things, but many other things that is actually in the surrounding environment and in the place where the university is there. And so those things, as well as the banking linkage that you mentioned, has been very important. Many of our universities have never thought about such linkages, and I think that is going to be fantastic. So I should say that as a whole, the audience, as well as the organizers, are immensely thankful to you for opening such a unassuming, but at the same time, highly explorative analysis of the issue, because the topic itself is building institutions, higher education institutions of excellence. So this is actually a evolutionary task, which requires definitely a beginning, but much depends upon its evolution, which of course comes from practice. And I think with your open mind, academically as well as governance wise, I think you will do a good job, and that is what I would see the signal that you have given through your lecture. And thank you on behalf of all the listeners, or what you call all those who are hooked to this network. And I find almost all of them are still hooked on. And let me thank once again, and happy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Once again, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Rajasree ma'am for taking precious time out of your busy schedule to be here and for sharing us your valuable ideas and thoughts on this wonderful and important topic. Thank you so much, ma'am.